guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be answering some questions about chinchillas. Now I had told you in the last video that I did about chinchillas that if you guys had a lot of questions, I would do a chinchilla Q&A. And I did get a lot of questions from that video, so that's what we're doing today. The first one is from Erica Raw. Hello, my name is Shay and I have some questions about chinchillas. I have 2 chins and I would love it if you could give me advice for introducing them to each other. Gizmo is my new addition. Rescued him from a woman who took very poor care of him. She had him for a year and a half, and when I got him, his hair was so greasy and he was so nervous. He's doing good now, and I would like for him and my other chin, Molly, to meet, but I don't really know how. So chinchillas are social animals, and they should be kept in at least pairs, so I'm really glad to hear that you have 2 and that you do want to introduce them to each other. However, just because an animal is social does not mean that it is easy to introduce 2 of them together. Now, the first thing that you want to think about is your male neutered? So it sounds like you have a male and a female, and you want to make sure that the male is neutered because chinchillas will breed pretty easily. So males and females shouldn't be housed together unless the male is neutered. Now, Animal Wonders did a really great video about introducing their 2 chinchillas to each other and how that process went. It was kind of a long process, and it can sometimes take a while to introduce 2 animals to each other so that they feel comfortable with each other and so that they're not fighting. So I'm going to link those videos in the iCard and also in the description down below so that you can get the information from there. That way you'll be able to see firsthand how it works. Sarah Thrope asks, how long is a chinchilla lifespan? So chinchillas live for about 10 years. That's a kind of average lifespan, and that's actually in the wild. So in captivity, they can live for about 15 years, and if really taken care of, chinchillas can live for about 20 years. Jigs Ivan Gaston asks, what is the best breed of chinchilla for beginners? So basically, this is the type of chinchilla that you can get as a pet, and that's it. There's no different types of chinchillas or anything like that that can be pets. There are 2 species of chinchillas, and there's one that's, still found in the wild. This one is the type that you can get as a pet, and there's no breeds or anything like that. It's just they do come in different colors, but it's a chinchilla. So that's about it. Emily Pearson, what's the best way to transition a chinchilla to new food? So if you want to switch your chinchilla from, a certain brand of pellets to a different brand of pellets, what you want to do is slowly introduce the new pellets into their food. So you take, your old pellets, fill your bowl up with that, and then a little bit of your new pellets. And then the next day a little bit more of the new pellets until the chinchilla is just eating the new pellets. So just transition slowly. Maddie Bell, how do you bathe a chinchilla? So you absolutely never put a chinchilla in water. You don't ever use soap and water to clean your chinchilla. Now the way you actually bathe a chinchilla is you provide it with a bowl of sand. Now don't go out and get sand from your yard. This needs to be sand purchased at a pet store. And it'll say for chinchillas. And then you provide it with that bowl, and they go in there and they dust themselves, and that keeps their fur really nice. So they're able to take care of their fur all by themselves. You do not need to bathe them yourself. CAM, are chinchillas sociable with other animals like a cat? Well, a cat is a predatory animal and a chinchilla is prey for other animals. So a cat can actually kill your chinchilla very easily. Now, if you do want your chinchilla to interact with your other pets, you need to really know your pets very well. For example, I let my chinchillas out into the room, and usually, Caspian's there, and usually my cats are also in the room. But I know my animals really, really well, and I know that they're not going to harm my chinchillas. Now, if you're trying to do that with your pets, it is a risk. You really need to know your pets very well because a cat, a dog, anything like that can very easily harm a chinchilla. So that's something I would never recommend for other people to do. So just always be really, really careful with letting your chinchillas interact with other pets. Lydia the gymnast asks, hello, I was wondering, since chinchillas can't go in water because it kills them, then if you have a water bottle that leaks and gets on them, will they die? So that's not exactly 100% true. A chinchilla won't usually die right away if it gets wet. You don't want your chinchillas to get wet. It is really bad for them. It's bad for their skin, it's bad for their hair, and they can actually get very sick if they do get wet. But they won't die immediately, so if the water bottle leaks and kind of gets on them, they're going to be completely fine. If your chinchilla were to ever get wet, what you want to do is try to dry it off as soon as possible, and then probably schedule an appointment with your vet to make sure that the chinchilla is okay and that it's not going to get sick. Now, if the chinchilla does get sick, it is usually really hard to tell if they are sick, and by the time you do notice and see signs that they are sick, it is usually too late and they're too sick to actually be able to help at that point. So that's why you want to take them to the vet ahead of time, get them checked out, make sure everything's okay, take whatever preventative measure that you need to. But to answer your question about the water bottle, a leaky water bottle is really not an issue with the chinchillas. I know, mine sometimes leaks a little bit and it'll get on their fur around their face while they're drinking. That's okay. It's not a lot of water. If it's something more and they get really wet, then definitely be really careful with that. Dry them off as soon as possible and make sure that they don't get sick. Kifa the werewolf. The person I got my chinchilla from says that she has done something with the chinchillas to allow them to eat more treats, like 1 or 2 a day. Is this possible? True. Generally, chinchillas can have 1 or 2 treats a day depending on what the type of treat it is. If it's really high in sugar, then maybe once or twice a week is better. But there's other types of treats that they can have once or twice a day. But for somebody to say that they did something with the chinchillas in order to change their anatomy, their way that their body processes sugar, is just completely wrong. So there's no way that somebody can say that they changed chinchillas in order for them to take more treats. Now, if a breeder's telling you this, they are either just trying to, I guess, sell it so that, it sounds like chinchillas aren't that difficult to take care of, or they really have no idea, no clue as to what they're talking about, which is, it's probably that. Carrie C. Oh, and just one more question. Can you give them Cheerios as treats? Yes, you can give a chinchilla Cheerios as a treat, but there are healthier options. So Cheerios, whether they're like the Honey Nut Cheerios or the regular Cheerios, they actually have added sugar to them. So instead of giving them Cheerios as a treat, it would be a lot better to give them oats as a treat. Laura the Hamster Lover. Are you allowed to have a plastic igloo house? So you should not have a plastic igloo house for your chinchilla. They can bite off pieces of it, swallow those pieces, and become impacted, and this will kill them. It is much better for them to have a wood house. They will chew on this a lot, and it's actually good for them. It's, good for them to have something to chew on. It gives them something to do, and it also keeps their teeth healthy. So provide them with something like that, and don't give them a plastic igloo house. Manuel Lazo. I'm thinking of getting one, but which is better, a boy or a girl? So if you're thinking of getting a chinchilla, always think about getting at least 2. But boys, girls, there's really no difference between them. They both equally make good pets, and there's really not any difference. It really depends on the chinchilla's personality. There's nothing that's like, boys are more affectionate or anything like that. It's really the same. Not one is cleaner or messier than the other or more affectionate. It's just really the same. So it's really based on the chinchilla's actual personality. Okay, I have no idea how to say that one, but how old is your chinchillas? So Flint is, let me see, about 5 or 6 years old. And then Ivory, I actually don't know how old he is. I suspect he is older than Flint, but I don't know his exact age because he was a rescue. Anna Lentinen. Should they have unlimited access to hay like rabbits? Is fresh grass safe? Yes, chinchillas should have access to hay at all times. That's, really good for them. It's really good for their digestive system. So they should always have hay, and grass hay is good for them. Fresh grass is fine. Just make sure that that's not something that's had fertilizers or chemicals or sprays, things like that, for bugs on it, because that will harm your chinchilla. But if you know where it's coming from and it's good, then yes, they can have fresh grass. My chinchillas actually love fresh grass, and I do give that to them when I can during the summer. Leah Alves Vega, how does your chinchilla like to be held? Because my chinchilla does not like to be held. A good way to hold a chinchilla is to actually support it from the bottom. Support all of its feet and its body. They don't like to be grabbed the way that you would actually, grab other types of animals, like around the body. They really don't like that. I think it's just too restraining. It gets hot for them. And so they really just like to be supported, and they'll behave a lot better if you can actually learn how to hold them that way. They'll stay with you longer. So don't, grab them like that. Don't put your arms around them. Just kind of offer them support and let them move around. And they like that a lot better. Lily Blossom. Is it possible to litter train them like rabbits? How much do they generally cost? Should they live in pairs, or is that optional? Okay, I really don't think it's possible at all to litter train chinchillas. They just kind of go wherever they are at the moment. They do seem to urinate in certain places, but as for their poop, they kind of just go everywhere, and they'll poop on you a lot while you're holding them. So I don't think that they would be as inclined as rabbits to poop and pee in a certain place. Now, the cost of chinchillas really depends on, of course, where you are and the color of chinchilla that you're getting. So chinchillas can be anywhere from $100 to $600. And I do consider chinchillas to be a more expensive animal, so they're expensive to buy and they are expensive to maintain as well. Chinchillas are social animals. They do better when they live in pairs, so I always say at least 2 chinchillas. Social animals want to be with other animals of their kind. So even if you spend a lot of time with your chinchilla, you're not a chinchilla, you know, don't have the same body language, you're not sleeping with them all the time, so that's not the same thing as giving them a friend. No matter how much time you spend with them, chinchillas are social and they want to be with someone else. So just think about it. If you were never to see any of your friends or family ever again, or another human being, I think you'd be pretty depressed, right? Even for people who say, oh, I'm a loner, you're still gonna interact with other people in your life. So as humans, as social animals, I think that we should be able to understand the needs of social animals. Mousy Maddie 101, what are the best cages for chinchillas and where can you get them? The best cages for chinchillas really are the Critter Nation cage, and that's a tall cage. It's actually very well built, so your chinchilla cannot escape from there. They can't, damage the cage. They do damage the plastic shelves, and that's just, chinchillas are pretty hard on cages, but the actual frame of the cage and everything is built out of metal, so they can't really damage that. Critter Nation cages can be found at pet stores. You can buy them on Amazon, online. You can find them used too, like on Craigslist. You can sometimes get some pretty good deals on them. But those are going to be the best cages for chinchillas because they are big, they're tall. Chinchillas need a cage that has levels high. And then with the Critter Nation cage, you can actually stack 3 units together. The perfect size cage for the chinchillas would be the 2-unit one, but if you can get the 3rd level on the top, it actually makes the cage really tall, and that's a really, really good cage for chinchillas. Sugar Glider Lover 123, is wood-based cat litter okay for chinchillas? I would never recommend any type of cat litter for chinchillas, and not even wood-based, because you don't know if the wood's been treated. They will try to eat some of it, they'll put it in their mouth, so you don't want them to have something like that. Okay, the next question is Nina. One of my chinchillas doesn't really bite me, but every time I'm in front of their cage or in the cage with my hand, he just kind of nibbles on my hand. Is this normal? I know it's normal, but he keeps doing it while he knows I'm not food. Okay, so the important thing to remember about chinchillas is that they are not super smart animals. Now, they're super cute animals, but on the intelligence scale, they're not too far up there. So if you stick your fingers into your chinchilla's cage, it is very likely that they are going to bite you because they explore the world around them by biting things, and also they're really not going to know the difference between your hand and food right away. So my chinchillas do bite me sometimes, and I don't really find this to be a problem like with hamsters. When they bite you, they draw blood. My chinchillas don't even break the skin. It's just kind of a nibble, which is what you're describing basically. So it's really normal, and it's normal that they're going to keep doing it because every time you stick your hands in the cage, it's a new day for them, and they're going to have to see, what is that? Is it food? Do I want it? And even sometimes when I'm holding them, they'll kind of nibble on me a little bit, like, oh, I'm holding them too tight, or they want to move, or something like that. So it's really normal for them to do that. I know somebody was asking, how do you get a chinchilla to stop biting you? And basically, move your hand. That's going to be how you're going to manage that. Next question, Buckets AMF. Is that chinchilla super large or no? I had a friend who had 2 of them when I was in middle school, and I don't think they were ever half the size of the one in the video. I actually get this question a lot about Ivory because he's usually the one that I'm holding when I'm doing a video about chinchillas or talking about chinchillas, and he's the white one that I had at the beginning of the video. And Ivory's not a big chinchilla. He's just an average sized chinchilla. He's a male, so I would say he's like slightly bigger than my female, but really not even like a noticeable size difference. But I get the question a lot as to why he looks so big. So I think a lot of people don't realize how small I am. I'm actually only 5 feet tall. I'm a really small person, and sometimes my animals look bigger than what they are when it's me that's next to them. And so I think that's pretty much all it is, because there's no difference between Ivory and any other average chinchilla. Next question is from Natalie Dominguez. I actually have 3 questions. My chinchilla has its dust bath house in her cage. I check if she bit it and she doesn't bite it. Should I take it out anyway? If it's hot, is it okay to put an air fan next to the cage? Where can I buy only pellets as food? Because the food I have for her has all the treats, and I always have to pick out the treats. If she's not biting her dust bath house, then you can, leave it in there. You should check on it every day. Usually the reason you don't want to leave the dust bath in her cage is because they shouldn't be sleeping in there, and if there's dust in there and they're constantly sleeping in there, it can actually cause respiratory problems for them. If it's hot, it is best to have the room at a controlled air temperature, but if you are unable to do that, then having a fan in the room is a good idea, and also having those marble slabs for them to lay on to cool themselves off. But it is best to have an air temperature controlled room. And a great place to buy chinchilla food that does not have a bunch of extra added stuff to it is on exoticnutrition.com. They have their Pasture Plus products, and there's one that's just Timothy pellets, which I will link in the description of the video. Juliana Mahoney, can a chinchilla play in the bathroom for playtime? Usually a bathroom actually is a good place to let a chinchilla play, because it's a small area that you can control what's in there and a safe place to put them. However, chinchillas are going to still bite on everything, so you need to be really careful with that. They will bite on wood and just on, places around the bathroom, so on the actual walls, things like that. You just want to be careful and be aware that that can happen. They will also bite electrical cords, so just make sure that all of that stuff is put away. Also make sure that there's no water that they can get into. But as long as the place is safe for them, then yeah, you can put them in an area like that so that they can get exercise. Juliana Mahoney, if you get a chinchilla, can you pick it up the first day? Now, a lot of people will not like my answer to this, but yes, I hear a lot of people saying, like, when you get a pet, don't touch them, don't pick them up, put them in their cage, leave them be for a day to a week. And that is not what I do at all, ever, with my pets. I handle them a lot when I first get them. The first day that I get a new pet, I usually spend a lot of time with it. And some people say that this can stress them out. I've never had that issue with my pets. If you get a chinchilla the first day, yes, you can start holding it and taking it out. There's no problem with that. Not everybody's going to tell you that, and a lot of people will probably not like that I said that. But I always interact with my pets when I first get them, and none of my pets have behavioral problems that are associated with that. Tasman Kelly, do they have a strong odor? I don't think chinchillas smell at all. Of course, the urine can smell a little bit, but they are on a plant-based diet, so their poop is really not even noticeable. And I don't think that they smell at all compared to other rodents that do have a strong odor. I think that guinea pigs have a stronger odor than chinchillas, and I think that rabbits have probably like the strongest odor of all the small type of animals. But I would say that chinchillas are one of the cleanest and less smelly of all pets. But they do shed a lot. That's one thing that I think they differ from the other small animals that you can get, is that I get a lot of hair from my chinchillas. And the last question is from Haley Simmons. Best tips on bonding with a chinchilla you just got. So the way to a chinchilla's heart is definitely through food. Now you have to really give them treats in moderation, but if you want to bond with a new chinchilla, giving them treats like yogurt drops, things like that, they're really going to start liking you if you give them stuff like that. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for more videos, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!